You read the title. I shut down my agency, I got rid of all of my clients, but I made over $1 million in less than 8 months after that. How did I grow my new business so quickly? And why did I decide to quit my agency? Well, stay with me because in the next 3 minutes, you'll find out. 2 years ago, I was running a lead generation agency. I used to get leads and book sales calls for other B2B companies. The method that I used to get my clients results was cold email marketing. I would send tens of thousands of automated cold emails to their ideal clients, which would get them 20 to 30 more sales calls a month. And the beauty of this model was that I could use the same method to get clients for myself as well. And that's how I grew to over 40 clients with a remote team of around 6 people. The revenue was great, but the problem that I ran into was that it cost me quite a lot to fulfill my service. To send cold emails at scale, you need to spread your volume across multiple secondary domains that sound similar to your main domain, and then create as many inboxes as you can and send an amount of emails that a real human would send. That's how you avoid landing in the spam folder while sending tens of thousands of emails. Now, the problem was that I was using Google and Outlook to create those company email accounts, which cost me like $7 a month per inbox. So at some point, I was spending over $10,000 a month just on these email inboxes. But that's not even the worst part. Google and Microsoft are advertising platforms. They want us to run ads. And sending cold emails in bulk was actually against their terms of service. So they would often block my accounts or put me into the spam without me even realizing it. So essentially, I was spending $10,000 a month for Google to ruin my results. And that was for the first time that I thought there has to be a better way. There has to be a way to create an email infrastructure similar to what tools like ActiveCampaign have for newsletter type of emails, but specifically for cold email outreach. I knew there had to be a way to achieve this, but I couldn't do really anything about it myself because I'm not a software engineer. So then a few months later, while I was running my agency, a guy from London, a software engineer from TikTok, randomly reached out to me. He actually reached out because he wanted to quit his job and use cold email as a marketing channel to start an agency. So we started chatting and I told him about all the challenges that I was facing with cold email. And him being a software engineer, he said that he could solve it. At that point, I was pretty busy with my agency, so I couldn't really spend a lot of time, but I told him, hey, sure, if you can solve it for my agency, I would start paying you because I'm already spending more than $10,000 a month. And honestly, if it worked, I wouldn't even want others to know about it because this would be my selfish competitive advantage. So he ends up building an email infrastructure from scratch, which of course, as we learned, was much harder than we thought. There was a reason after all why this didn't exist in the world. So without getting too technical, to be able to send millions of emails without getting blocked, what he had to do is he had to acquire IP spaces because nobody who rents out IPs allows cold emailing. Then he had to set up IMAP servers for receiving emails, SMTP servers for sending emails, and then he created the automations to automatically configure the domains with the needed DNS records to that in the inbox, the DKIM, the DMARC, SPF, all that nerdy stuff. Long story short, he built the first version, I started using it, and it worked. At this point in my entrepreneurial journey, I've built at least 4 businesses, but this was maybe for the first time where I truly felt like I was sitting on a massive opportunity. This solution basically didn't exist, but we built it. It's kind of hard to imagine because you think that everything exists already in this world. But because we were on the cutting edge of cold email, I realized an opportunity years before others would even understand it. I actually remember chatting to Jason Cohen, founder of WP Engine, which is a $1 billion company, on Twitter, and I asked him for advice, and he said that he doesn't really think there's an opportunity here. Needless to say, I'm pretty happy that I didn't listen because we grew this company to over $1 million in ARR within months without any funding, without rich parents or any connections. But I'm digressing. What Mo built saved me almost all of the costs that I was spending on Google and Outlook, and it saved me hundreds of hours of tedious manual setup of those inboxes. And when you have an offer that saves people both money and time, it becomes really difficult to fail. So at this point, I honestly thought, do I even want to sell this as a solution, or should I just keep it for myself? And for some time, I did keep it for myself because it enabled me to send millions of emails at substantially lower cost than all of my competitors. So I used it for myself, I got amazing results, but eventually I realized maybe it was time to move to the next stage of my journey, to move from a service business to a software business. So together with Mo, now our technical co-founder, we started a new company and we called it Mailscale because it helps people scale emails like ads. But now the question is, what did I do to grow this to over $1 million in 7 months? The first thing that I did was to find partners who had communities of people who needed our solution. I then gave them affiliate codes so that they could earn 20% of the monthly subscription by recommending it to their people. And this is honestly one of the easiest ways to grow because you just need to convince one partner and they'll convince hundreds of customers who already trust them. This strategy helped us grow to 5 to 10K MRR. I think around 10K to 20K MRR, I realized that this opportunity was too big. I realized that I had to quit my agency and focus on this full time. Maybe I could have tried to sell the agency, but honestly, it was way too dependent on me. Even if I would have sold it, I probably would have to still work on it for 6 months to a year for the handover. So I called my clients, told them that it would be the last month that we'd work together, and I would help them find new agencies. Some new clients I even refunded, and that was really a tough choice. It was a tough choice to shut down something that I had worked so hard to build, but what would have been even worse was seeing an opportunity and not taking it. And the other things that I did to grow this company was to post organically on Twitter. Cold email for some reason was a really hot topic, so I knew I could get attention by sharing really valuable content. But here's the thing with organic marketing. If you're not a true expert, it takes a ton of time to get traction. The only way to grow quickly is if you share such valuable knowledge that you can't even sleep at night because you worried you gave away all of your secrets. And that's honestly what I did. I wrote long-form posts and threads revealing how I built my agencies in ridiculous detail, sharing every tool, every hack, every AI personalization strategy that took me years to learn. And I gave it all away for free. But it did pay off. Within just a few months, I grew to over 10,000 followers, which added tens of thousands of MRR, so millions of dollars of valuation for the company. And lastly, of course, we were Mailscale. We were one of the few people in the world who could send millions of emails a month at a very low cost. So of course, we used cold email to grow this company as well. I think what's interesting for you is that until 70K MRR or so, we never even let people buy our product on our website at all. I positioned it as the competitive advantage, which it is, and I put a wait list on the side. So people had to add their email, and then they would get automated daily emails that talk about the strategy, that talk about how we built this company and the story of how I built it with Mo. That's how people would emotionally bond with us and start trusting us. Then a few days later, they would get the opportunity to join. And that strategy of gating the unfair advantage worked really, really well. Within a couple of months, momentum started building, people started sharing it. We grew to almost 1,000 paying customers and hit $1 million in annual recurring revenue, which is still pretty surreal to me, honestly, considering the speed of how fast we did it. Now, a year and a half later, we have a team of 13 amazing people, a lot of software engineers, and I'm currently building out our marketing department. I definitely learned that running a software company is very different from running a service-based business. Software engineers get insanely high salaries, and when you bootstrap like us, you have to be okay with reinvesting every single cent because you're competing against VC-backed software companies that go after the same pie. I'm not saying running a software company is better than an agency. It definitely has more scaling potential and exit opportunities that can set you up for life. But an agency, on the other hand, can be an amazing lifestyle business with high margins and profits and more stability. And that concludes this video. This is the first time that I shared the full story of how we created Mailscale. There's still so much more that I could share, like how we grew in more detail, our organic marketing strategies, our ads, our cold email copy. If you're curious about any of those, please leave a comment to let me know what you'd be most interested in seeing, because that's how I come up with new YouTube video ideas. And if you want to become part of this journey and join over 2,000 agencies and B2B firms who use Mailscale as their unfair advantage, you can try it completely free today. Just go to mailscale.ai to start or scale your cold email outreach. Have a beautiful rest of the day, and bye-bye.